Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Let's continue this. So the term market the term market is thus usually and interchangeably used with free market. The implication being that the prices are set by agreement between buyers and sellers. But as I said last time, free markets don't exist in capitalism in that sense, for the reason we went through and probably will go through again. In this more abstract sense, the idea of market is defined by the set of socially understood or enforced rights of participants. Socially understood and enforced rights of participants. An arena of transfer is a market insofar an arena of transfers is a market insofar as the disposition of the goods and services in question is the will of voluntary acting individuals or cooperating sets of individuals, terms of exchange, prices being freely and negotiated. Prices are then determined by effective supply and demand on the part of participants. Okay, so now it's price. So market the context for market is obviously society. And society's moral standards and its social mores and its moral and standards and laws as a whole provide the context within which a market operates. And so normal markets are embedded within the context of society as a whole. Capitalist markets or so-called capitalist markets emerge when market sort of is able to abstract from that context. And in fact, as capitalism grows, market sort of dominates society as a whole, in the sense that market rationality became the rationality of society. So one way to contrast the traditional market or bazaars and capitalist market is this, and this contrast is from Polanyi's Great Transformation. In a traditional market is embedded within society. So when I'm a market, I'm still the same social individual. I'm not an abstract person, and our relationship is embedded in social context. So social standards, social expectation, social norms not only limit in negative sense, but positively determine my behavior within market as well. And to the extent I deviate from that, I'll earn a bad name for myself. On the other hand, in capitalist society, the capitalist market, in advanced capitalist society is embedded within the context of the market and market rationality. So market rationality comes to dominate social mores and social standards and transform them, marketize them. Sometimes they call that market society. And it starts with abstracting, because capitalist markets emerged in the context of non-capitalist societies, which were heading towards capitalism but were not capitalist societies. So the first step is to abstract markets from, or distance them from. So you are a social individual, but when you come to market, you sort of become a form of self, a capitalist self, without context, and you follow abstract law of the capital in order to succeed in this market. But as time goes on, this market obviously transform the society itself. Okay, so that's the context of what he's saying here. So the term market is usually used interchangeably with free market, the implication being that prices are set by agreement between buyers and sellers. The prices are set, so the prices are set by the context, social and individual expectations, and morality and law in the context of. And the way prices are set in capitalism is different from the way prices are set in non-capitalist markets. And the claim that the prices are set by idea market defined as set of socially understood right prices. Pretty much the implication the prices are set by agreement between buyers and sellers. Prices are set by sellers and buyers. Now this is possible when there are actually free markets, when there is a perfect competition, when there are numerous buyers and sellers. And that happens in traditional markets. So traditional markets are actually free market in that sense. They are called non-free. I mean, the capitalist mentality thinks that they are not free. Why? Because they are determined by non-capitalist social order and moral order. the concept of just price, for example. So there are expectations, social expectation, moral expectations, which buyers and sellers work in the context of those. So in free market, so there is agreement in real free market between buyers and sellers, because buyers and sellers are roughly equal, and there's agreement between them, even though agreement is always in the context of social standards and morals. But that's not how prices are set um, in capitalist markets. So at the start, when capitalist markets emerge at the start, it abstracts from social and moral standards of a society, because that society is not yet capitalist. And capitalist markets are emerging in corners of that society. The buyers and sellers are free to the extent they are free, or they are equal. That freedom is freedom from the social order and morality of the day, in the context of which free market is operating. And as the capitalist markets mature and capitalist society develops, this free exchange become less and less possible. Why? Because in capitalism you have concentration. With the increase of concentration, the power of seller over buyer increases. That's the one thing. So in that sense, this is not an agreement between equals. One side is predominant here. And the second argument is that it's not free to the extent that it's not free, because to the extent that buyer is a capitalist buyer and seller is a capitalist seller, they both are governed by capitalist rationality, which is to maximize their own profit. And the profit of buyer is to sell. I mean, seller is to sell at the maximum highest possible price, and the buyer is to buy minimum price. That's what they call law of supply and demand, which is this quest for maximizing the profit. So they are not free to the extent that they are governed by an overarching rationality which compels them to do what they do. So in that sense, they are not free. And these markets are not free also to the extent that the seller has generally more power than buyer. And thirdly, they are not free, or if they are free, they are free in the sense of being capitalist markets. They are not free in the sense that they are not, increasingly, capitalist markets are never perfect markets. They are always imperfect markets, because there are fewer buyers, and the most prices are determined by a few. Obviously, depending on what the stage of maturity of a capitalist market, fewer and fewer companies. Okay. This is obviously abstract, but it's just important to have this abstract picture um, in the context of which we should understand these claims. So in this more abstract sense, the idea of the market is defined by a set of socially understood or enforced rights of participants. An arena of transfer is market insofar as the disposition of the goods and services in question is at the will of voluntarily acting individuals. So they are voluntarily acting in the sense that they are nominally free, but they are constrained by the law. And in the context of capitalist market, the law of capital. So they are formally free, but substantially unequal, and to the extent unfree as well. Acting in your occurring set of individuals, the terms of exchange being freely negotiated. So free negotiation is a myth in capitalism. At least. Prices are then determined by effective supply and demand on part of participants. Um, but as several economists have shown, the law of supply and demand doesn't work within capitalism because human beings are not there to maximize their profit and maximize the fulfillment of their desires. So historically, law of supply and demand doesn't work, and in capitalist market, it doesn't work because the conditions of the conditions set in economics books about the working of supply and demand, the law of supply and demand, are not met in capitalist markets, or don't exist in capitalist market because they are not free market. They don't have perfect competition. Okay, so we'll just stop here and complete the rest. Is still quite one paragraph there. So just reading slowly. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. صلى الله عليه وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك.